Turn the fucking Jets on! Turn the fucking Jets on! Let's go! Ah!
That's a really good beam.
Give me a hell yeah! Give me a hell yeah!
Turn the fucking Jets on! Turn the fucking Jets on!
Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know.
Do it for Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. Hey. Do it for Deuce and Mo. When it comes to the Kings, it's my favorite show. Do it for Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. Do it for Deuce and Mo. When it comes to the Kings, big hopes and dreams as we cover our kings. Never cover the kingdom, but we loving our kings. And we covered your prayers as we doing our thing. Big Deuce with the par, Lil Mo on the screen. Solo or together, still do it for team. Never switch up for $1 or revenue stream. So we always got each other, balance out the beam. Deuce and Mo, and that's the end of the theme song. Do it for Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Do it for Deuce and Mo. When it
How
comes
about
to
a
the
random
Kings, that's my
Friday night live stream? Deuce Mason, Morgan Reagan, and we got some breaking news tonight. Mike Brown's got a new deal with the Kings. Stop stressing out. How we doing?
Yeah. What up, Deuce? Hey, Morgan.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm rooting for y'all.
Yes. Oh, it feels good to be live.
Let's go, Kings.
Been doing a lot of recorded stuff, but there's some extra juice tonight. It's a Friday night. We're all feeling good.
Do it for Deuce.
Feeling great.
Disclaimer. Deuce Mason's got a nice buzz tonight. We're just hanging. It's a Friday night. I didn't expect to be live tonight, but you know damn well when something big happens involving the Sacramento Kings, there's a couple people you can count on. Deuce Mason and Morgan Reagan.
Give me a hell yeah!
Every Friday night. What do you do on a Friday night? You hang out with us.
Yeah, so here's the plan for this tonight.
There's a plan.
Yeah, I got a plan, man.
What's the plan?
The plan is, after we do this whole intro thing, I say, what's up, chat? What's up, Manny? What's up, Cass and Landon and Bench and Tay? We get into the podcast. We get our thoughts out there about Mike Brown's new deal. And then we're going to end that part of it and then hang out for a few more minutes to answer some questions.
Fair enough.
Is that fair?
Love that life.
Yeah.
Oh, he's going for the water.
Also, I'm trying our old new mixer, if that makes sense.
No, it doesn't make sense. It makes sense to me, but
So we had this awesome Roadcaster, and then we upgraded to the Roadcaster 2. And then last year during the season, early preseason and regular season, we had issues with it. It's awesome, but we had issues, so we sent it back in. This is the first time I'm trying it on a live stream since.
hey, got to try it sometime. So
How does it feel to be live
prayers
again?
up. How does it feel? What?
To be live again.
It's fun because it's an emergency pod, so it's random. It's on a Friday night, and you never know who's gonna join you. But I know there's so many Friday nights where I'm looking for that live content, so it's fun, and especially if you're here in Sacramento, hearing some good big news.
Do you want to do a little roll call for the people?
Give me a hell yeah!
Do a little roll call.
Let me talk to you.
He asked me, but he's going to do it.
Shout out to Johnny. Shout out to Bad News Sour Grapes. What's up, Micah Guerrero, who says, make sure Mike Brown and Monty McNair get Fox into bonus more pieces needed for a possible championship run. Jesse James says, pay the man. Angelo does a whole bunch of hell yes and Mike Browns. What's up, Yaz? What's up, Bench? We got Adam in the house, Landon Cast, Digital Media, and Vlad the Imp 916. Jeanette's in the building with Jesse James, Kings fan, Sneak, and Richard Stevens. I don't know why I was going to say Ramirez. You know, the serial killer? I don't know why that went to my brain.
Well,
what's
go
up,
back.
Steph? What's up, Jordan? Biggity Blake. Played basketball with him last week. Angelo and Geeky Nana. Appreciate you guys being here. What's up, Brian, who says no cap, please? Hey, Coach Molly. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Deuce is feeling good on a Friday night.
Shout out Old Ironsides.
Yeah. Yeah. Ever since you got that water,
Yeah?
you do the old thing that you used to do.
What?
You take multiple sips throughout podcasts and all these things, sometimes mid-sentence. I'm just saying it's something to watch. Shout out Old Ironsides.
Okay, this is not a sponsorship at all. So during the offseason, I've been on this deep dive, this real deep dive of Sacramento history, reading old newspapers, looking up old clips. And I've always wanted to go to Old Ironsides. But for some reason, under this previous management, it was only open for like concerts. I'm like, I just want to go and have a drink. Apparently, it's like the first bar in Sacramento to get a liquor license post-prohibition.
Yes.
Okay? Opened in 1934.
Yep.
So I heard it was under new management or something. So I went in today. How amazing was that place?
It was the epitome of like when you want to be immersed in history. That is what it feels like.
Yep.
And Sacramento has been mismanaged for so many different years. We do not have to go down this rabbit hole of things. One day
That's
we
another
will.
pod, yeah.
It's such another pod, but it's been mismanaged for so many freaking years. So then when there is little pieces of history all around, not just old Sacramento and you just see the old building. No. It's all around, but it's scattered. And so you got to find it. So if you are, ever in the area, or if you're just looking for a great bar to go to in downtown Sacramento,
Yes.
you have to go there.
Gotta
Have
go
to.
there. It's amazing.
Yep.
I was blown away. Sacramento history at its finest. Also, the Backdoor Lounge in Old Sacramento, another spot
Yeah.
we went to tonight.
Yeah.
That bar it's the oldest bar in Old Sacramento. It's been open since 1968.
It has the
I just love we're going, hey, these are all the places we went to on a Friday night before going live tonight, following this Mike Brown. And by the way, we go to Jungle Bird, a little nightcap at Jungle Bird on J Street. Also another underrated Sacramento spot. You want a good tiki bar, you go there. And I checked my phone. I'm like, oh my God, Mike Brown's got a new deal.
And that's
Great spot.
that's when it came up. Hey, we should do a live podcast on a Friday
Yeah.
night, and it was sure. Why not? Why freaking not?
Anyway, the biggest thing you can help us do right now is hit the thumbs up and make sure you're subscribed. And all you people who are here live, we appreciate you. You guys are the best. The other thing I want to make sure you know is we are dropping content. It seems like almost every day.
Yeah.
Especially during the NBA playoffs. We've been reacting to almost every single playoff game. We've skipped a few for sure. But we covered the conference finals, both in the East and the West. And we will be covering the NBA finals, Mavs, Celtics. Can't wait. Shout out to our good friend. You haven't seen him in a while. Carlin is in the building. Carlin? No. He's a little tired. He's a little tired, man.
Good night, Carlin.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Anyway, let's talk about Mike Brown. Let's get it started. You guys ready? Morgan?
Oh, you're asking me
Turn
now.
the fucking Jets
Yep.
on.
Oh.
Turn the fucking Jets on. Let's go! Ah!
Yep, I'm ready.
All right. Deuce and Mo. We're coming down in 3, 2, 1. Hit my music.
Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. The podcast that you know.
Hey, welcome into the Deuce and Mo podcast, an emergency podcast edition. It's very much an emergency podcast. If we are recording this on a Friday night at 10:25 p.m. Pacific time.
10:25.
We were sitting at Jungle Bird in downtown Sacramento when I saw an alert from my phone, Adrian Wojnarowski saying, Mike Brown, the Kings have agreed to a new deal.
I thought it was just going to be smoke again. That's what I was waiting for. Just a little leverage, a little nugget here or there.
Well, let's go through it, Larry.
Oh,
the
please.
first headline is this.
Okay.
Mike Brown has a new deal with the Sacramento Kings.
Yay!
Turn the fucking jet zone. Turn the fucking jet zone.
That's the good news.
Yeah.
Let's take a little rewind, though. At the end of the season, we found out Mike Brown, this is according to Anthony Slater and Sam Amick from The Athletic, reported that Mike Brown had this mutual option for the final year of his 4-year deal. But he was looking to get a raise because he's seen what other coaches around the league are making. Coaches' salaries have spiked dramatically. So we went, oh, man, if he's ripping up that mutual option, that means this upcoming season would be the final year of his deal, and he wants a new deal. Mm-hmm. So it was something that we were thinking about headed into the offseason. Then last Friday, we found out from Adrian Wojnarowski that the Kings and Mike Brown had discussions, but there's a large gulf.
Oh, yes, the golf.
The golf, it's huge. And they
word.
have table talks. They're tabled them. Then last night, right before the tip-off of Game 5 of the Mavs and the Wolves, Shams Charania reports that, hey, man, Kings are offering 3 years, $21 million with incentives that could get it to 27. It's a competitive offer, but they don't have an agreement. So far, no deal. And then tonight, we find out that the Kings have extended Mike Brown through the 26-27 season. A couple of different numbers have been put out there, but according to Adrian Wojnarowski, Mike Brown's getting a $4.5 million raise this year.
Yeah.
Then he makes 8.5 next season, and then 8.5 in the final year of his deal in the 26-27 year. Now, Shams Charania did report it's a 3-year, $30 million extension. The point being is, sounds like base level salary. He's making $8.5 million per year with incentives that would get him to like 10-ish, maybe 11.
Yeah. Great. I mean, this is exactly what you and I had discussed even when the first rumblings came out. And it was, this is what he's kind of looking for. And it's like, yeah, this is what it's going to land upon. I think we even said this the other night when the latest tweet came out from Shams. And I mean, you got to be happy with it. Here's the thing. Of course you're going to be happy with it. You're getting millions upon millions more. Yes, we understand that. Absolutely. Stating the obvious. But I think as a Kings fan, you should be happy about it because it just means a little bit more stability, consistency. And then if you are a player on this roster, it means, hey, we also get that continuity. We also get to learn and grow and develop under this same coach in this system.
Yeah, it's significant for Mike Brown to get an extension. And I think he deserved it. And you look at what other coaches are making right now. So give this guy a little raise, a little bit. And it doesn't really hamstring you because we talk about a 3-year extension. It's technically only one more year added on to his previous 4-year agreement.
Right.
So it's not like you're extending it way out to the future. And if you really take a deep dive, it matches up with the expiration of Domantas Sabonis' contract in the 26-27 season. De'Aaron Fox's deal actually expires in the 25-26 season, the year before that.
Okay.
So obviously there's a lot of different things to look at. But look, Mike Brown's deal matches up with that core group where you go, okay, what's that look like toward the end of that? And it allows the Kings some flexibility and make some decisions down the road. But it also, hey, you commit to this guy who has helped you become a respectable franchise again. You have never had winning like this besides Rick Adelman.
There you go.
I mean,
and that's the fact that we always have to go back to that.
That's like Woj had it in his piece today. He's like, it's only the second time in Kings history that a coach has had winning seasons in his first 2 seasons as head coach. The only other person was Rick Adelman, 98 through 2000.
So I think if you first look at, like you were saying, how it lines up with Domas Sabonis in his contract. And that obviously being intentional, because when you look at this whole thing and you look at everything as a whole, as I just repeated myself saying.
I like that.
Thank you. When you look at everything as a whole, you want to, I think as an organization, commit to what you believe can grow together, right? And what you believe has a timeline together. And if you don't get shit done in that time together, well, something's got to go.
Right.
Whether it's a trade, whether it's a firing of a coach, whether it's something like that, is when you can make that decision. But I'm just so sick of being in Sacramento and over so many years seeing losing basketball, but then never seeing consistency, because, I mean, it wasn't always the wrong decision to obviously fire some of these coaches and go in a different direction. But there was also some, Michael Malone, where it felt like, oh no, you could have continued along this journey. And that's why I like that they're showing commitment there and being like, hey, we believe in this. We're going to go in this direction.
If you go back to the report from last night from Shams, it said the Kings are pretty much offering $7 million a year base salary, and that Mike Brown wanted 10.
Yes.
Well, look, there was some middle ground. It's something we talked about last night when we reacted to it. It's like, yeah, could you get him $8-9 million with some bonuses that could get him to 10? That's exactly what happened, and it's clear the two sides wanted to work something out. It was interesting to see how this was being talked about, and I understand it from a Kings fan's perspective. Like, we're watching it, and there's a little bit of us being on edge about it too, because it's like, wait, is this going to get messed up? Are we going to have to stress about this? I'm glad they got this done within a week of all this news coming out about it.
Well, you mentioned this the other night when we were talking about Shams' tweet coming out, and you're like, look, when it came to Ty Lue, Shams tweeted out something about Ty Lue and the Clippers, and that
they weren't close.
They weren't close with the deal. 1 week later, they had come up with a deal. This happens to be, 48 hours later, however many hours it ended up being later. And I think on top of all that, though, Deuce, within this time, you and I are like, we're not naive to it. And I think a lot of people out there aren't naive to this, that these are negotiating tactics within the NBA. This isn't what you're going to do with your boss at your everyday job. This is not what I'm going to do with my boss at my everyday job.
I will say, I'll push back on that a little bit.
You think I'm going to call Woj and say, yo, NBC, I want this shit. I want this money.
Okay, I'm not talking about leaking out that information. I'm talking about the negotiation. I think it was so funny. Like, people are like, hey, he's asking for 10. Just give him 10. I'm like, in what world do we live in where you go to your boss and be like, hey, man, I want 10 million. And he or she goes, okay, here's 10 million.
Right.
It's like, no, there's like some middle ground. They're going to lowball you. Then you're going to go. There's some middle ground. It's a negotiation.
And I'm more just talking about the strategy of obviously reaching out to the public. And I think that has been triggering for so many years when it comes to this market, because a lot of times it just gets messy. But with this, I think it's become the new day and age of how you strategize with your negotiations as a coach, as a player, as whoever the hell. And even if you wanted to stay in house, it ain't going to stay in house anymore. That's just how life goes. And especially when millions are involved. And so I know a lot of people were getting frustrated about that. I think even for me, it was triggering for me at first. And then I realized, like, oh no, this is just the new day and age of how people do things.
I just realized I messed something up too.
What'd you
mess up? So I'm going
up?
to edit this into the real version of the audio podcast.
What'd you mess up?
So, and shout out to Ben for mentioning this.
Oh, thank God.
Sabonis' deal actually goes into the 27-28 season, not the 26-27
You
season.
checked this 3 times
I know.
at Jungle
I probably
Bird,
didn't scroll
and you're
all the
like,
way.
if I'm not mistaken, and he said 7 times, if I'm not mistaken, and guess what I said? I said, don't be mistaken. Don't be mistaken.
Can you not hit the
Sorry.
desk, please?
Sorry. My whole thing is because there's been so many podcasts, not so many. There have been a few podcasts where you and I have gone back and you're like, oh, I fucked up this, or I screwed up this number. And I'm like, yo, that's on you.
So how do you want to handle this? Because I was trying to like, hey, let's edit it. Now we're just going to leave it in? Okay, we'll just leave it in. So Mike Brown's deal, technically, it goes through the 26-27 season. De'Aaron Fox's deal expires 25-26. Sabonis actually goes to the 27-28 season.
Okay.
Nonetheless, they're pretty much matched up with each other.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
That's fair to say.
That's fair to say.
Yes,
But shout out to our guy, Ben.
Thanks, Ben.
Always active. One of the OGs in the chat letting us know about that. Yeah, I think, too, I'm curious why this had to be so public within the last week. Like, is that what needed to happen to get this over the finish line? Why did it have to be out there? Because you see other organizations, like when Jason Kidd agrees to a deal, it just gets agreed upon, it gets announced, right?
But he's also making the NBA Finals. And I think...
But that's fine.
Okay,
But
okay.
that deal wasn't agreed to yesterday. It was agreed to earlier this month.
Fair.
My point is, like, some of these extensions you hear about, it just gets announced like, oh, this team and this coach agreed to a new deal. You don't hear about, hey, he wants this. Oh, they want this. I want that. It's not so public. I am curious why it needed to be so public. And I think that's probably what gave a lot of people pause going, wait, is this going to be okay? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I get that, but I also think with this organization that has also experienced so much losing over the years, so much drama over the years, that they're finally it's like being in a relationship after being in so many toxic relationships, and you're finally in this good relationship, and it's hard for you to commit because you're like, is this real? Are they just gonna cheat on me again? Are they gonna screw me over? And it's like, no, sweetie, like, believe it, commit, pay the man, just like that.
I'm glad they paid the man.
Me too. I'm super happy on this Friday night because of it.
What do you think is Mike Brown's biggest challenge going forward?
Well, when you look at De'Aaron Fox and Domas Sabonis and their contracts not necessarily lined up to the exact year of when Mike Brown's contract ends up, but I think when you look at the bigger picture of everything and you go, okay, we're committing to you and what you can do with these pieces in those times, right? Like, how many times this season are we talking about roster construction and that you have to have the right pieces around Domas and De'Aaron and all these things? Like, you're not going to run it back this next year. Like, that's what you did last year. And it got you 46 wins in the Western Conference. That was so difficult. But at the same time, like, there was just so many different things that happened, and not just because of health, that you're questioning, okay, like, there needs to be tweaks, there needs to be changes. But I think when you look at this with Mike Brown, like, some of his biggest challenges are, you got these pieces, you got to work with what you have at times. And so, like, he's just got to make the most out of even whatever he's given on this roster, even if there are tweaks and changes going into this next season.
And I think he has. I mean, I was thinking about this today. His first year, they were 24th in defensive rating. This year, they jumped to 14th.
Yeah.
They were 9th after the All-Star break.
Yeah.
It's not like they had a dramatic amount of changes. The big change was, Keon Ellis was a factor. They put him in the starting lineup. De'Aaron Fox took a step. Keegan's ability to defend. And they were able to become, after the All-Star break, 9th in defense without, like, acquiring some all-defensive talent.
Or rim protector.
Right. So they were able to do that.
Yeah.
So now, I think it's just building upon what they've done. This wasn't meant to be, in my opinion, it shouldn't have been like such a big deal.
Yeah.
And it became a big deal because it was out there. The reality is, I think Mike Brown's done enough. Doesn't mean he's accomplished everything that he needs to accomplish. Doesn't mean he's a perfect head coach. Doesn't mean his rotations are perfect and he makes every right decision. No, but the reality is he has brought a level of respectability back to this organization. He had talked about when he first got the job, every good organization has a soul. I think we got a little bit of a soul back.
Mm-hmm.
The players dig him.
Well,
he holds guys accountable.
Yes.
And the guy's 48 wins the first year,
Yep.
46 the next year. We haven't seen that in years. Now, I'm not saying be satisfied with that, but I think he is the right coach for this time.
Agreed.
Of the Sacramento Kings.
What did you ask me the other night? You said what is the alternative? That question alone got me like, whoa, you are so right. I think everyone always thinks like the grass is always greener. I mean, you look at the Bucks going like, well, we got to hire Doc Rivers. Like, and not to say that things didn't get better after Doc Rivers came along. Like, you could say there was certain things that got better, but those weren't the expectations
Right.
of what was supposed to happen with those star players. And that's not the only case. My whole point is, I think sometimes people just think they automatically go to change is going to make things better. And I'm sorry, they think firing someone is going to make something better, when sometimes you just have to have a feel of what type of people you actually have around this organization. And I think with Mike Brown, you have a basketball mind. You have someone that understands the game, players, the league, how to work with like talking with the media, how to work with just being personable with people within your organization. Like, he gets all those things, and all those things are very important as a head coach in the NBA.
And it's clear if you read James Ham's story a couple weeks back when he was talking about the Mike Brown situation, and then he said that, ownership was not happy with the result of the season. There's some pressure on Mike Brown. There's pressure on Monty McNair in the front office and the players to get back to the playoffs now and make some noise. Like, a one and done thing is not good enough. Like, ending the streak that was great in that moment, but you have to build upon that. So ultimately, I'm glad they got this done now, because we were talking about this last night, Morgan. It's like, you don't want this kind of hanging over you as you approach the draft and free agency. You're going to sit down with Monk at some point and talk about a deal. And if he's looking at you going, well, what's going on with Mike Brown? It's done now. Like, you're all lined up. You got the deal
Stability.
done. Everyone should be happy.
Yep.
Like, Mike Brown got a fat raise, a big raise.
Yeah.
And it's of market value. He got rewarded. The Kings are obviously showing some level of faith if they're ponying up that deal, right?
Yep.
So I think it's a win for everybody now. And now it's up to the front office to get busy and figure out what moves they need to make to get this team back into the playoffs and winning a playoff series in a Western Conference that's only going to get tougher.
That's it. It's not about looking at it's something else you and I never talked about during this postseason of watching all these other teams. And when you look at a lot of these teams that committed a lot of money into these players, into these rosters, to basically be a finals, and I guess a contending team, right? There's a lot of teams that wasted money, took risks, risked their entire futures. I mean, you look at the Phoenix Suns, you look at the mess that happened with just firing Frank Vogel, blaming it all on him. But you look at the roster, and something you and I kept talking about and we hadn't gone on and talked about was for the Sacramento Kings, we kind of took a step back and we're like, really glad that the future wasn't just thrown away for the Sacramento Kings. Not to say that that it was okay that no tweaks were made, that no moves were made, but it's like, scared money don't make no money. Like, you got to make sure you are taking risks, that you are taking calculated risks, and making sure that you are giving this team a future that they can depend on. And I know that's hard to balance. It's like, okay, so do you just pay some name player, whatever, to be your third guy to try and push deep into the postseason, but then not have a future because you're paying this guy this much money?
Sure.
It's just, there's a lot that goes into it. I think sometimes, like, I just take a step back and I'm like, ooh, I'm so glad that they have so much flexibility still.
Yeah, and there's teams, I mean, even after Minnesota gets eliminated, the talk today is like, look, man, you've got Ant getting a big raise. Cat has a ton of money coming his way. Same with Gobert. They're top 6 guys getting paid, with McDaniels getting a raise, and of course Conley's deal, Naz Reid. You had all that up. They're already like a second apron team. Like, they're in like a tough spot. Now, they should be good, but they may have some tough decisions to make going forward, right? And so at least the Kings at this point, and this is the challenge going forward in team building in the NBA, is, initially you just had a luxury tax. That meant, hey, if you went over that threshold, well, your owner's got to pony up and pay a lot of money.
Yeah.
But now there's so many additional penalties if you get past that first one and then go to the second apron where you're limited. We're talking with picks. There's punishments there. There's punishments with some of the deals that you could put out there, some of the trades you can make. So you have to stay nimble a little bit. And it's a fine line to walk as an organization is picking the right time to go, all right, this is the time to make the big swing and go into the second apron because this move will propel us to championship contention.
Because moves will make a difference. Moves will make Mike Brown better. Moves will make De'Aaron Fox better. Domas Sabonis better. I get all that. You got to make moves. They just, it's in this small market, you are just like, you are walking a fine line and you just got to do it right. And that's why that's all I'm saying with this last year. I'm not justifying the no moves, 46 wins, blah, 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 blah. I'm just saying, looking at some of the other teams and their futures, I'm like, I get it. But now it's time to make some moves.
Well, the Kings get it done. Mike Brown and the Kings agreed to a new 3-year deal. Mike Brown gets a raise, $4.5 million next season. The season after that, $8.5 million, and the final year will be the 26-27 season, $8.5 million. Probably some bonuses up there if they have some postseason success that will get him to that $10 million threshold.
Gotta get to that 10.
The Kings get it done. What's up, chat? All right, now we're going to talk to you for a second. That will be what we edit later on.
Oh, my goodness.
Let's read some of these comments. Shout out to Keegan Murray Watch for becoming a member again. Appreciate
Thank you.
Give me a hell yeah.
Shout out to Ben for alerting me about the Sabonis deal. I'm so irritated about that. But that was a fine correction, right? Like if someone's listing that works.
Are you serious?
Okay,
yeah.
Keegan Murray Watch also said the question is, does this contract get done without it going public? I have to assume it was Mike Brown's camp that was leaking. You know, figuring out the leaks is so funny. I heard all the conversations and I heard theories of like, hey, it was Mike Brown's camp that leaked it to Shams, or it was the Kings who leaked it to Shams. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, this type of stuff there's always strategy behind it all. You know what I mean?
It's a new day and age of negotiating, and it's
tricky.
It's so beyond me. But again, I can't imagine if I was negotiating a $4 million raise, right? Like, how is that normal? How is that normal life?
Yeah.
You know? So, yep, this is how millionaires do it.
Shout out to Blake Mavericks, big Mavs fan, obviously excited, saying, definitely need to make a trade most likely, but I like the extension to help build continuity for the franchise. Yeah, it's a big deal. It's a big deal that this is a situation for like someone like De'Aaron Fox. How many years has he had a head coach for like more than 3 years?
I don't know that stat, but
Jaeger was 3, but like beyond that. So
yeah, it's good for the morale, you know, because I think when you have someone that there's been talks like, oh, nobody likes this coach. Oh my God, they're re-signing him. This sucks. There's been none of that. In fact, there's only been a lot of positive conversation surrounding Mike Brown and his coaching staff. So it's like, obviously, yes, this was the right direction to go in for players and for this organization.
If you're in the chat and you have questions for us or comments, hit us up right now. We're going to stay on for a few more minutes and get to some of the questions. Are we doing draft content now? Who do we like at 13? Dude, I can't even pretend to like know. There's a few guys that could be like, oh, I like this guy. A part of me selfishly is just hoping they just like move the pick. So I don't have to worry about it.
That's what you said
Last year, probably.
Was it
and the year
last
before
year?
that?
Yeah. Yeah, it was some of the years. Some of the years, I just remember you saying that. Anything new pop up?
No. Let's see here. What else we got? Imadal says Western Conference is going to get even tougher next year. Yeah, it is. I mean, but things change. This league changes so fast. You know, we don't know what trades are going to happen. What are the Lakers going to look like? Is LeBron going back to L.A.? What's going on with the Clippers? Where does Paul George end up? How are the Warriors going to look? Are they going to pivot and make some big splash? Or are they running it back with their core group and See what it looks like when Draymond doesn't get suspended for doing something stupid on the court. Like there's so many questions. What's Memphis look like after a down year last year? John Morant back in the fold. Houston, are they ready to take a step? Is San Antonio ready to take a lead? What kind of moves do they make? Are they going to get Chris Paul? I don't know. Like, yes, the West is. Here's what I know: the West is hard, and I feel like it's been hard since 2000. All right, it's going on 25 years of the West being challenging. It is what it is.
Yeah, I think what's been different about it, especially this last season, that the challenge was spread out. It wasn't just Golden State, or it wasn't just like two teams. It was like
the parity is
like
great.
the entire Western freaking conference.
If Monty does his thing and everything falls into place, we can be really good. I don't think the Kings are far away. I mean, look, we get in this conversation all the time, right? It's like, well, they missed the playoffs. And it's like, yeah, but winning 46 games and missing the playoffs isn't the same as winning 30 games or 28 games and missing the playoffs. They're not that far. They weren't that far from being a 50-win team. They upgrade that 4 spot. They make a couple of subtle tweaks. I think they're in a good position. Now, are they going to turn into a championship team? No, they're not. I mean, unless they make some amazing swing. My dream is like, can they get Brandon Ingram without giving up Keegan Murray? That's my dream. I would love Brandon Ingram.
Cute dream.
That doesn't seem realistic.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that don't seem realistic, though. And I say that because I think there's so many different. Look at last year, trade deadline, Pascal Siakam, and it felt like everything was going in the right direction until the reports came out. Again, I could be naive to things. I don't know everything, whatever. Until reports came out that Pascal Siakam wouldn't want to re-sign with the Sacramento Kings. Why would the Sacramento Kings want to commit to someone who has no desire to even be there? You have to convince him to be there. Like, that's too risky, right? And I guess my point is to everything that lies ahead for the Sacramento Kings when trying to trade for people. I mean, you talk about BI, whatever. There's so many things that don't seem realistic, but there's also so many people and trades out there where it's just like, we don't know if there's an extra connection that we're missing. Is it Kyle Kuzma and De'Aaron Fox and their relationship? They love each other, blah, blah. So like, that's why like something can get done. We just don't know all these things. And I feel like when it comes to Sacramento, it has to be something extra like that. It's not just like, well, of course I want to come to Sacramento. I can market the hell out of myself. Like, no, it's not the Los Angeles Lakers. You're not, you know what I mean? It's like, you're not wearing that jersey and being able to sign a whole bunch of marketing deals.
I'm not going to go into season preview mode because there's so many things that can happen.
Yeah.
But bare minimum for the Kings to have success, it's pretty simple.
What?
Fox has got to be consistent.
Yeah.
And be what he was last year.
On both ends.
But be consistent.
Two-way, consistent, yeah.
Sabonis got to do his thing. Mm-hmm. Keegan has to take a leap offensively, right? He has to be more consistent,
aggressive,
show a little more versatility to his game. And then you need an upgrade. Who is that? You know, like look at what PJ Washington did for Dallas. My pushback all the time on that is, PJ Washington's also playing with Kyrie Irving and Luka, who may be the best player in the NBA right now.
Correct.
So we have to acknowledge that type of stuff. But I don't think the Kings are far from being a 50-plus win team. I really don't. I think they can make some noise next year, and it could be a really fun year. But it's going to take some internal growth, and it's going to take Monty being aggressive out there.
Yeah. I just think being aggressive on all fronts. I think even Mike Brown, after signing the contract, is like, how can you be even more of an aggressive head coach and more hungry to, achieve more things within this organization, especially with the pieces that you have. I mean, Domas Sabonis, 28 in his prime. You got to capitalize.
Totally agree. Manny says, Deuce, are you going salsa dancing with that shirt on after this? Is this like a salsa dancing shirt? Someone else, or guy, Chip in Discord says it looks like it's like a bowling shirt. Here's what I do know.
No, don't do this.
I look good in it, don't I? Look at that. Look at that shit. Man.
Honestly, it gives me the ick. And why are your muscles so white, like compared to your face? No, like really.
Do I tan this side of me? I've got a little color. Look at there. Well, okay. This lighting makes me look more pasty than I am.
It's pasty. I mean, you look like this. You blend it in with your shirt.
I wouldn't be talking. I would not be talking.
I look tan right now.
When is the next podcast? Okay, so we've been doing clips every single playoff game, it seems.
Yeah.
And then sometimes we kind of combine clips and add some different takes and make it an audio pod.
Anytime there's anything breaking about the Kings, just go to our YouTube page. Like, it's there.
Yeah.
Like, we're literally on within an hour.
I really hope the Pels sell. You know, those are being made from Monty. What? I'm not sure I understand that last part. I don't know if they're going to sell. I mean, I think they want to build around Zion. I think they're going to change some things up dramatically. I think David Griffin's kind of made that clear. Like, we have to be aggressive. We can't run it back. Let's see. Emiliano, Luka could be playing with Fox in the Kyrie spot, but oh no, that would be too hard of a decision. You know, we talked about this last night on a podcast we did. I personally have moved on from the Luka stuff because that's all I can do. If I get caught up in every single draft pick that the Kings have missed over the years, I would drive myself crazy. And yeah, does it hurt sometimes? Absolutely. But I'm also an NBA fan, and I'm not going to sit and watch a Mavs game and pout the whole time going, oh, he should be in Sacramento. Yeah, now I know how Blazers fans feel when they drafted Sam Bowie over Michael Jordan. Okay, I know how it feels now. And we all know how it feels. But at some point, it's like, it is what it is. There's nothing I can do to change it.
Yeah, I'm there. I'm definitely there because I think I used to live in that land. And that's also because the Kings were such trash that it was like, what was I supposed to be excited about every day? Like basketball gave me life and it wasn't giving me life. And then finally, when the Kings have had more spirit and just everything's better around them, obviously seeing some success. It's not all the success you want to see. It does help you, I guess, heal.
As best as you can.
Yeah.
But I mean, you cannot turn on an NBA game within the last 10 years and find a star that the Kings didn't pass on.
Oh, yeah.
Luka, Steph, Clay, Kawhi, Giannis.
We're missing. Yeah.
The Luka one hits home because, like, it wasn't like a surprise pick at 15 or 18. It was like, no, he was
handed to you.
He went the next pick.
Yeah. Even if he wouldn't pair up with De'Aaron the right way, it's like,
that was such a weird
then you
take.
can make a decision and trade somebody.
Well, it's also that draft's so funny because I mean, think about all the other guys in that draft, right? Like Jaren, if you had taken Jaren Jackson Jr., yeah, of course Luka's better, but like Jaren Jackson's a good enough player to be on your team, right? Or wasn't SGA in that draft later on? Like it was not only that you missed on Luka, it was that the guy you drafted is now on his third NBA team. And like,
I don't want to talk about it.
Okay, I'm sorry. But yeah, you can't dwell on it, right?
No.
Biggity Blake says the Mike Brown deal closed and we get right back to the Kuzma, Paul George, BI talk. I love it. Yeah, that's like next up is like, I think that's the next thing is like, is Monk going to come back? Who are the Kings going to land? Yeah.
Wait, and free agency is, did you confirm?
June 30th is free agency.
On a Sunday?
It's a Sunday. June 30th is free agency, but the Kings don't really have cap space to do anything significant. They've got the mid-level, but it'll the Malik Monk thing, the mid-level thing. There's some intrigue, and they could trade for a player into the mid-level as well. So
before that's the draft.
Well, Woj thinks this is going to be a really busy summer. Like this is going to be a summer to remember. I think he compared it to the transfer portal in college basketball because all these teams are seeing what lies ahead with this new collective bargaining agreement.
I'll believe it when I see it.
I think it's going to be crazy.
It better be.
Elijah says, at the end of the day, I'm not sure you can win without a top 5 to 10 superstar. Do you think Fox could reach that point, or is there a viable path to get one of those dudes, which is more likely? I don't know what the viable path is to get a top 5 to 10 player in the NBA. I just, you think when those guys get available, they kind of dictate where they go.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's not like, hey,
Yeah.
well, they're open to trade for him.
It-
Can Fox become a top 10? I think he could be a top 10 guy. Top 5 now.
And also
like a
in
stretch.
Sacramento, that you're trading all of your assets anyway. So then what are you putting around this top 5 to 10 superstar guy, right? Like where other teams, it's a different market. It's just a different market.
Yeah. No, for sure. And that's the other thing is you have other teams that have like Memphis, dude, they've got some capital to go out and make a move. Oklahoma City, we know about all their draft picks. What kind of move does Sam Presti have up his sleeve? So, you know, you think about some of these bigger names, Kings might get priced out of those. So you are banking. The Kings are really, for them to compete at that level is like you need Fox to take a step and bring the consistency. You can't have like a month of January where you're like, is everything okay? Well, you know what I mean?
Right.
And then Keegan's got to take a leap, like we talked about. Like Keegan has to, like, not next year, but if you're really gonna take a leap, he's got to be like, hey, he's a borderline all-star guy, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't even want a season preview. This is about Mike Brown signing an extension
you're right.
tonight.
I was just
Like,
talking to the chat,
no,
man.
you're right. I just like even just going down there, I just got like anxiety attack.
You're so stupid.
Oh my god.
I got a few more. We can go over them, and then we'll put a bow on this thing. Make sure if you have not yet, hit the thumbs up and subscribe too. When is the next pickup game? I'm ready. Yeah, we'll let you know, man. We'll let you know. We did a little pickup game last week. That was fun.
Yeah.
We have to be careful with this stuff too, though. You start putting it out there, you get like 800 people showing up, and then it's like no one gets to play.
Yeah.
So-
No. It's just about like ball is life. So like do what you got to do. I don't even know what that
someone in the
means.
chat says, I love Sacramento, but people are not exactly clamoring to come here. Yeah, I mean, from a free agent perspective, it's always going to be a challenge unless
They're
you are a
lost,
championship
by the
team.
way. Sacramento's the fucking best.
You know what, Morgan?
Give me a hell yeah.
I love this place so much. I just hate
great.
when like people don't. Like you're missing out. You're missing out. You should pay us to be on this team.
Did Monty just give Brown the extra money that we're going to save from losing Monk? Again, I think you're just assuming that the Kings are losing Monk. I mean, it's possible. What's up, Mo?
I see Dave in the chat asking a very hard hitting question.
Who's your favorite coworker at NBC? Oh, Dave Bernstein. What's up, Dave?
Oh God, who would I pick?
Deuce Mason.
No, definitely not.
Well, you tonight you got a message from Mike Bibby, and you're like, how cool is it?
Oh
Mike
my
Bibby just said he misses us.
Mike Bibby goes, hope you're well. Miss you guys. Just like on a story of me and Deuce. I'm just like, what is this life I live in? So yeah, it's Mike Bibby right now.
It's not Dave.
Okay. You know what? Dave's top 3. But like Mike's right there.
Yeah. RP says no one wants to come here except for Zach LaVine. All the other All-Star players have a huge say in where they're going. Yeah, there's more reports about Zach LaVine about how like the Bulls are willing to lower their asking price for him. It's like, yeah, you think the guy makes like $50 million a year and
Yeah.
he's been hurt.
Yeah.
Now I could talk. I'm gonna be honest. I might be able to talk myself into a little Zach LaVine.
I know you
Sacramento.
can't, and I don't like that you keep
It's
going.
scary. That is
It's-
like you're.
It's
a little
not
scary.
No, it's not. It's not. It's just stupid. Like that's stupid. It's not.
Why?
When someone tells you who they are, believe them. He is injury prone. Injury prone. And when I say this, I think some people are so mean about athletes in their health and they're like, they get hurt all the time. Yeah, like some bodies just weren't made for this, okay? Like they could be skill-wise one of the most talented humans in the world. Some bodies just weren't built for this shit. And I think with Zach LaVine, he's one of those people. How 28?
He played 25 games last year. The year before that, how about this though? The year before that, 77 out of 82.
Yeah, I remember that.
67, that's not a bad number. And then it dips to 58, 60, 63,
That's-
24.
What was he had 82 his second year in the
Second year in the league.
Yeah. So, and I mean, look, he's not young. He's in his prime. 28.
Here's my thing with
What?
Levine. If his contract wasn't what it was,
There you go.
like if he was like 25, 30, I'd be like,
down.
do it. Let's
Down.
go. Let's gamble a little bit. But God, you're just
Because here's the thing, even if this player, like you pay all this money, whatever, and he's so good. Wait, what? Just say it.
So next year he makes 43. Then he makes 45.9 and then a player option for 48.9.
And like, what if he's getting paid 48 and he's not even playing, right? Like, I say this because of track record, and it's not even about him not playing. It's like, oh, you can't even utilize him. No, because what if there's a point where he's like, yeah, I'm healthy, I'm good, and so you plan everything around him with him in the system, and then he's just all of a sudden gone. Then your system's screwed too.
And that's why it brings up an interesting point too when you talk about, all right, how you're trying to divvy out money, right? Because Fox, a bonus, make money. Keegan, you're going to have to give him an extension at some point. Maybe you bring back Malik Monk at his rate. That's why that 13th pick is a little bit intriguing because you can get a guy on a rookie deal. And that's the
Right.
same thing with Keon Ellis. You look at his deal the next few years, like, that's a hell of a deal, man. That's a great deal. And if you can look at what the Mavs are in the cusp of potentially winning a championship, not just because of Luka and Kyrie, because they have this duo up front with Gafford, who they traded for, and then Derek Lively, they got in the
Rook.
lottery or on a rookie deal, and those guys just kind of split time for the
Yeah.
most part.
Yeah.
But they do a lot of the same shit.
And obviously playing with Kyrie and Luka has complemented their games, has elevated their games to another level as well. And that's because everyone bought in and is playing team defense. And so like the collaboration is real with this team. Jason Kidd also doing a good job. And yeah, all the pieces matter. All the things matter. Leadership matters. Complementing one another. All the things.
Yeah.
There's just so much that goes into it. So much. And that's why even when I do look at this draft and I look at the 13th pick, I think sometimes so many people are like, but we don't know anybody. This draft isn't even that good.
It's fine. That's not our job to know.
It's not our
Yeah,
job.
let the front office figure it out and
That's
go
it.
find the right person because
Surprise me. Surprise. You surprised me with
one
Kings.
other Mavs point.
What?
I want to make two on this.
Make the Mavs point.
They were able to get Derek Jones Jr. on a cheap ass deal. Dante Exum,
Yeah.
who wasn't even in the NBA last year, on a cheap deal. You nail those moves and you make the right draft pick, you can afford to pay Kyrie and Luka a lot of money. You can be a little top heavy if you nail the other things around him. That's why you have to be careful of overpaying someone
Correct.
that is maybe not available a lot, that seems all shiny. It's like you can find someone maybe more impact. Look at Keon Ellis.
Dude, well, even Trey Lyles was so worth, re-signing, like keeping him on this roster, all the things. And he had a down year, and that's okay. It's what he's going to do this year now. Healthy. Can he look the same way, consistent, that he did the year that obviously helped him get re-signed? Thank you. Why? Figure out the word for me. Thank you.
BI is my dream scenario. I can talk myself into Kyle Kuzma.
Yeah.
Deal's not terrible, so I'm like, yeah, maybe you can buy in here. The 3-point shooting worries me with him. His free throw shooting is awful. I'm like, do we need a bad free throw shooter? His defense, I'm like, maybe he's got the tools to be a good defender. We'll change the scenery for a little Kuz. Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, we
Yeah.
can talk about that later.
Yeah,
We'll definitely have a lot of content coming up this summer. I need you guys to know we are dropping content throughout the NBA Finals. Anything big happens in the league, but also specifically with the Sacramento Kings, we will have you covered. So make sure you're on our YouTube page. Maybe if you want to be one of those people that turns notifications on. I'm not one of those people.
Yeah. I turn notifications on for certain people.
Really?
Yeah. It like that reminder.
Do it for a channel then. Hit the little thing.
Yeah. It's not just about subscribing to the channel. It's if you hit the notifications, then you go, oh my God, shit, Deuce and Mo are live. So then you know whenever we're on.
Appreciate you guys hanging out with us late on a Friday night. Spread the word. We love you guys, but we got to go.
Happy Friday. See ya.
Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know. Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. The podcast that you know.